Good evening, everybody. I'm Wayne Campbell, and this is the driver's side. Real drivers, real talk. And before I even get into tonight's show, or before I even talk about anything, I want to please take a moment to recognize a fellow driver that's shifted his final gear and has taken the highway to heaven. If nobody has heard, friends and family that are of the driver's side that do know of Ted Williams from International Broadcasting, Independent Broadcastings, God, Truckers Independent Broadcasting page. Ted Williams, he had Channel 19 for a long time. He was a fellow brother of the industry, and he has passed. I just did a show with him 2 days ago, but I'm going to play a little video that I made of him in memory of Ted. So please, to keep his family in your prayers. That is our brother Ted Williams. He was a very big he was very big on trucking. He lived and breathed and slept and breathed trucking. I did a show with him 2 days ago, and he felt like that he said something wrong, and he was just trying to explain something about women within trucking, and he was trying to explain how there's women out there that use their sexuality as a tool to do things within life. And it came out wrong, and unfortunately that was his last show, but that is not going to define you, Ted Williams. I know you were just trying to explain something. I was on that show with you, and I promise, brother, I'm going to do a show Tuesday with John Grosner and Sean Mitchell from Independent Truckers Broadcasting. They are some good people, and they are hurting, and the trucking industry is hurting, but I know he's going to be with us in every broadcast from here on out. So, Ted Williams, you will not be forgot, brother. We thank you for everything you've done for the trucking industry, and you are immortal. You are on Facebook. You've broadcasted many shows, and we'll be sure to carry you out. And I just want to thank you, Ted and John and Sean, for everything you guys do for the trucking industry. Before we get into tonight's show, remember we are sponsored by Trucker Tools. You can download the app. It has the COVID-19 useful links, and it has the Book It Now feature. So be sure to check out Trucker Tools, download the app, and they also do care about the small guy, because they have all kinds of truck washers in there. And we're going to talk about the small guy tonight, because I feel like that the small guy wasn't recognized a couple days ago by the commander-in-chief. That's going to be part of our topic tonight. We're going to be talking about the reopening of the economy, and we're going to talk about the commander-in-chief and how he thanked the truckers of America. We got John Herdrich, we got Rob Hallahan here to join us tonight. Gary Jones was supposed to be here, but he's put some new stacks on his truck. Excessive Behavior 1 and Excessive Behavior 2 are they're getting taken care of back at SPB Trucking, but we are getting sneak peek we are unveiling Gary's new truck. He's also working with Roadworks, so be sure to check out SPB Trucking and Roadworks, what they got coming to the trucking industry. We are going to be the first to show you guys. It's going to be awesome. You guys seen their white Pete's. They're very famous. But are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for this country to get back open? Are we ready? I know this. I want to say this. I know some of the wives are ready to get rid of their husbands and get them back out on the road. I know my wife's ready to get away from me for a little while. Huh, honey? She's over there. And that brings me to, I wanted to thank all you wives that support these drivers. Ms. Herdrich, Ms. Hallahan, Ms. Herdrich, Devery Jones, Mrs. Jones, all you guys, my wife. I want to thank my wife especially. She's the reason that why I have such a good show all the time.
Keith Becker
And Keith Becker can say he can barely hear me. Are we having audio issues, guys? Can barely hear you, Rob Hallahan. Hello from BC. I'm ready to get away from my kids. My daughter says that's my daughter right there. By the way, are you guys having trouble hearing me? Is everybody having trouble hearing me? I don't know. Let's see. Check the feed, babe. So, excuse me for a second while I check the feed. I don't know where my phone is. Here we go. Just turn your phone up. We're getting good audio on our end. I don't know. Maybe you guys maybe you want to turn it up or go back out and come back in. I don't know. But it seems like we're doing okay over on this end. If we are having trouble, just continue to let us know. Just keep making the comments. Hey, Sean Mitchell, Cheryl Pollard, Rob Hallahan is going to be here shortly. He's here. Dana Quails, Keith Becker, Tim Keenan, Steve Sorrell. I tried calling you earlier, brother. And look, let's remember, guys, I'm going to be going live every morning at 6 a.m. So, Steve, I'd like you to stop by the show. You guys can stop by the show, and it's very easy. Baby, you can turn that down now. It's very easy to join the show. It's just as easy as us sending you a link. I believe, I don't know if the link's in the description, but the link was attached to a post today, and you can just click that from there, and you can come right on in. It's as easy as just clicking a link and us sending you a link. But back to what I was talking about. People are ready to get back to work. You know, we got people out here protesting. We got all kinds of stuff going on. The president's pushing for us to open up. He's saying it's leaving it up to the governors and all this, but then he's tweeting out, stand up for your Second Amendment right. What was that, babe? What was he doing?
Which one?
The president.
Oh yeah, he was telling everyone to basically go out and protest. He was telling them to stand up for their Second Amendment rights, and that it was that they were under siege, and to protest against the lockdown. Liberate. He was telling them to liberate. That was what it was.
Right.
Right.
So, which I kind of get. We were talking about this last night. You know what I'm saying? At first, he's telling everybody to stay home. Now he's telling governors to open up their states, and they do need to open up states in areas that it's safe.
Right.
And I know that he's got a reason why he's going to push things now because he's still got the election to go. Right? Lives before votes. I mean, he needs those people to live for votes, though, doesn't he?
I don't know. I think it's my opinion that now he had the country in lockdown for 6 weeks. He wanted to push for May 1st. So now he's got to strategize because everyone's in an uproar that they don't want to be locked down anymore. So he doesn't want to lose votes. He's got to switch. He doesn't want to lose those votes. And he's got to switch gears now and stand by the people. Like, yeah, he's pushing for the lockdown to end as well. So he's telling, he tweets and tell these guys to stand up and liberate, because what he's done is basically he's put all the responsibility on the governors. He suggested the plan to reopen. He wants them to go into it as soon as that they can. So now it's up to the governors to decide how long, when, and the phase. So.
Yeah, we had protests out here today or yesterday. If Keith Becker saying they had protests in Phoenix and stuff like that. We're going to bring the guys in here in a second, because I want to talk about, first I want to talk, because we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about the economy opening and what you drivers think and stuff like that. But I want to talk about this right here. I really do, because this right here, and I'm going to move it over to the screen here. I want to put it up. I'm not expecting everybody to hear this, but everybody's seen this video, right?
Widespread shutdowns, truck drivers form the lifeblood of our economy, and for days and sometimes weeks on end, truck drivers leave their homes and deliver supplies that American families need and count on during this national crisis. Their routes connect every farm, hospital, manufacturer, business, and community in the country. From the moment the invisible enemy landed on our shores, America's 3.5 million truckers have never wavered at all, and they've never, ever let us down. When we supply our country, we supply it through truckers. To every trucker listening over the radio or behind the wheel, I know I speak for the 330 million plus Americans that we say, thank God for truckers.
We've all seen it, right? We all seen it. How'd you feel about it? One of the gentlemen that I'm bringing in tonight, Rob Hallahan, he spoke about it really fast. I saw the speech. I saw what he did. Was very appreciative that they're recognizing the truck the truck drivers of America. But that only represents such a small portion of the industry. Those big carriers that were up there, basically your package delivery carriers, DHL, UPS, FedEx. I mean, I'm not knocking those drivers. All drivers are the same to me, regardless. What I'm trying to say is, where was that small carrier? Where was that 6 truck owner? Where was that 1 truck owner? Where was the complete backbone of America? So I'm going to bring Rob Hallahan in here because what Rob Hallahan said, he says, man, it's like a charity case. It's like a nonprofit organization. The commercial felt like a nonprofit organization, and I agree with him. What I'm saying is I don't feel I'm tired of the people that fill the pockets in Washington bring these types of carriers to the White House when it's nowhere near what that looked like out there. So I'm going to bring Rob in. So let me go ahead and bring Rob in because it that pissed me off. It really. Go ahead, babe.
Yeah, I just want to say, everyone's saying that you're clear, but they have to turn their volume up all the way to the max because they're just having trouble hearing you. That was Emily and Keith. John Herdrich just left, and he said he was coming back in because he was having that same problem.
All right, we'll do the best we can here, guys. We'll work on that. I don't understand why. Hold on, let me try this. I'm afraid. Oh, this might be the problem, Sheila. How about now, everybody? Let's try that. Let's bring Rob in and let's bring John Herdrich in. How about now? Is that better, guys? Did the volume go up on that? Oh, wow, there's Gary Jones. Hey, I didn't see Gary. There's PB's in the house. I thought that was John. It's Gary Jones. Gary Jones, can you hear me okay? Okay, I can't hear Gary, though. Okay, I can't hear Gary. How about you, Rob?
I can barely hear you. Before I couldn't hear nothing.
All right, I can hear Rob, so we're having trouble with audio, obviously. I can't even hear you, Gary. Nope.
I tried it on my phone, too, and on my phone I couldn't hear you.
All right, I hear Gary now. How about you, Gary? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yep.
Okay, Rob, you're having trouble hearing me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so anyway.
I had to turn everything off in order to hear you.
Well, real quick, what's going on, Gary? I didn't expect you. Shout out to SVP Trucking
man.
over there.
We're headed to the parts house to get some parts real quick. I've only got a few minutes here, but
what are you doing over there? You're home.
We're putting a new set of pipes on EV2, getting the trucks ready to go. We got to go back to work. You know the deal.
Yeah. So, hey, look, I know you only got a little bit of time. You got a new truck coming. You're working with Roadworks. We're going to talk about the president tonight, and I know you're on the way to get parts. How did you feel that went? I know you've seen it. How do you feel that went, and do you feel like you represented and thanked the industry properly?
I just think he should have used somebody with a smaller company, somebody that's out here. He didn't use nobody like us. He didn't use none of the little guys. He used the mega carriers, and to me, that wasn't. He should have at least had somebody in there.
Rob?
I agree. I mean, I thought it was crap.
It
had nothing to. I mean, it was all about UPS and FedEx and carriers like that. I mean, it didn't do anything for us.
I mean, it did. I don't think it represented the trucking industry at all. I think it represented basically your package delivery guys that, your FedExes and your Amazons, and that's about it. It showed no grocers up there. It didn't show anything. The trucks that are out at the farms, the hopper pullers, the oversized. It showed nothing as far as representing the trucking industry, and I felt like it was a ploy for securing votes, and I felt like it's going to backfire on him from the trucking industry.
Well, it would have been nice if he would have explained how the truck drivers are getting screwed right now, and everybody's raping us left and right. We're out here damn near running for just enough to make our payments and fuel. Other than that, we ain't making any money to take home to our family.
What do you say to that, Gary?
Yeah, we don't get a check. Everybody else is getting a check in their bank account. We haven't got no check in our bank account except for the one that we earn every week.
Right, and it's not easy right now, is it?
No, it's
Rob?
not.
It's tough. I stayed home for 10 days almost. I sat in front of the computer and making phone calls and everything, trying to keep everybody else going. So I sat home, for over a week.
And I feel,
It's affected us. We're doing, we move big. It's a big company, but I've had to move some trucks all always on the hopper bottoms just to keep them moving, hauling grain and essential stuff to do what we can. Stuff we haul CNC machines. That's our big thing, and the ports are closed down. We can't get no machines out of LA. That's our big deal.
right, and now he's so hopefully this. Do we feel that? How do you feel that this should open back up quickly? So you're talking about the ports and stuff, Gary. How do you feel about the way things are going to go? Because it's going to go in stages. You guys know that, right?
I'm hoping they get to start opening stuff. We need to get everything back rolling. Our economy needs it. We need to get all these trucks back on the road. There's families that are dependent on it. Everybody needs it.
Because I know rates are no joke right now.
No, I came down here. I'm in Phoenix right now. I'm over at Danny's getting ready to get polished in the morning. But I brought a load down here because it paid, it's my regular customer freight. I'm going to deadhead home from here. I'm going to deadhead 1,800 miles home because there is no way in hell I'm putting a 75-cent a mile load in my wagon. No way.
Right. Hold on, Rob. You stay right there with that. Rob.
That's the same thing we just did.
Go ahead, Gary.
That's exactly what we just did. Me and my wife delivered up in Portland, and it was for people to take care of us. So we did the job. But when we got it all the way back home, so there was nothing there. I'm not going to put down 75 cents, $1. That's not going to happen. I'll put her.
All right, look, Gary, you're going to get parts. We know what you're saying, Gary. You had to do the same thing. You had to do it with 2 trucks, and Rob's also got a fleet to worry about too. So you guys know exactly what's happening, and this is not going to end quickly. And that's the scary part. Where's the relief for the drivers? I know that they got these small business loans, but that's already been exhausted. And I know drivers, they'd rather work for their money instead of take it's not that they don't want to take a hand. It's they want to work. They want this to get back. And I know that brokers are really gouging people. It's a mess. And the fact that Gary, I'm going to let you go because we're having connection problems with you. We'll talk to you soon. But Rob, go back to what you were saying.
And thanks, Rob. Truck safe out there. Appreciate everything.
Gary, I'll talk to you during the week. Get those pipes back on that truck. Send me pictures later, brother.
We'll do it, buddy. See you guys.
Every high. Bye. All right. There's John Herdrich. Real quick, Rob. You're deadheading home from Phoenix.
I probably will, yeah.
That's not good. What's going on, John Herdrich?
Not much. Just listening to what you guys were saying while the computer was restarting, and I'm completely with Rob. I had to work my ass off just to get the stuff covered I needed to get covered coming back home this week. And same loads that were $2,000 a week before, they're trying to move them for $1,500 to $1,300.
$800
box.
So what the hell is going on? Why do you guys think this is like this? Is it because there's not much freight? What do you think is causing all this breakdown?
There's plants shut down.
Well, it's because 50% of all manufacturing is shut down right now. All your restaurants are closed. All your schools are closed. There's no special events. There's no weddings. There's no funerals. 50% of the country is pretty much doing nothing. So you got 50% less loads to haul, but you still got the same amount of trucks on the road. So these guys that are willing to haul it dirt cheap, they're getting screwed and bent over, but they're agreeing to do it because they have to. They don't have a choice. They still got to make their truck payment, and they still got to pay their employees. So they're going to take whatever they can get. So they're doing it for 70 cents a mile.
Right, they're just
and
trying
it's
to keep
just
their fucking
dumb. I
doors
don't.
open, and it doesn't make sense in the end because in
Right.
the end it costs them more. You know, if something happens to that truck, it's just it's too much. There's no reward to that risk at all. There's no reward to breaking even when it comes to that with fuel. Because even if you're just breaking even with fuel, that does nothing for you. You've lost money on wear and tear in your truck, on maintenance. Every time the tires turn, it costs you money somewhere.
Well, I had a broker call me the other day wanting me to haul a load for him, and I had a truck that was real close to where he had a load at, and he's like, well, what the hell? He wanted to do like it was like 90 cents a mile or something, and I'm like, you know damn well every time we've hauled that load, it's been 225, 230 a mile. I'm not going to do that. And I said, why don't you put it on one of your trucks? It was Bay and Bay, which is a pretty big company. I'm like, why don't you put it on one of your trucks? And he said, we can't afford to. Okay, well then why would I be able to afford to? Why even call me then? If you can't afford to put it on your own truck, then you can't afford to put it on mine.
So, how do you guys feel about this economy opening up in stages? I mean, what are you guys hearing on your end as far as getting back? Because I know Virginia, I know Michigan. There's protesting going on all over the country, all over.
Yeah, Virginia's like,
What are you guys? What are you seeing over there, John?
we got protesting.
Well, we've got a governor that needs to go back to the fucking nursing home where he belongs.
Oh boy!
Oh yeah.
I'm serious. He needs to go back to
Look
the
at
nursing home.
Rob.
He's thinking that we need to stay closed till May 26th. We went out yesterday to get some stuff, and everywhere we went was packed.
They're getting
Like
excited.
people are saying, "Fuck you,
really,
governor."
Really, StreamYard. I don't know what's going on with our service, Sheila, but we got
Well, yeah.
terrible service.
Our governor in Wisconsin,
they're cutting in and out.
our governor in Wisconsin wants to keep everything closed until May 26th, but then he made an exception to opening golf courses. Okay, so I got a buddy who owns a bar, and his wife's like, "Who wants to come out and dig 18 small holes? Because if we turn our bar into a golf course, we can open."
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
They're saying the golf courses can open the course, but they've got to keep the clubhouse closed. Well, I don't know about you, but I ain't going golfing unless I can drink beer or whiskey while I'm doing it.
See, and
Well, they just can't have people inside the clubhouse, but they can still serve on their little carts.
Right. We got things going on
But
out here.
what's the sense of that though? It's just retarded. If you're gonna open some things, open everything.
Right.
Walmart's still open.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. I mean, the way I want to agree there. I feel like there's areas, and it's not that they have. I feel like they have the hot spots nailed down. They have the containment. They have the testing going on. They're putting things in place. We can put men on the moon. We got somewhat of a grip on this. They need to oversee it, and they need to open stuff up. I think that there's no reason. I mean, like, where is it? Wyoming, babe. Like Wyoming, that doesn't has barely any cases.
Right, it's Montana and Wyoming.
Like Montana, Wyoming. I mean, these are states that barely have any cases, and they should be opening stuff up. The thing is our economy is hurting, and men and women like John Herdrich and company owners like Rob Hallahan and John and Gary, they need to keep their doors open and their wheels moving. Are their wheels moving to keep their doors open? I mean, because you got LA talking about not having any concerts, any sports until next year. And that, you know how much that delivery is there as far as production drivers, concessions, restaurants, all kinds of stuff. That won't open back up for a while.
Correct.
So, I mean, I don't know how they plan on doing this. You there, Rob? I think that's better. Rob, John.
I'm here.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, like restaurants, just because they're saying they're opening the company back up, these are stages. What were the stages, Sheila? What's the stages for us?
The stages for us would be, well, they're going to be recommended just as far as Trump has suggested too, which would be in different phases.
Which
is
she's the only
really
one in the
bad.
house.
And you have to be in decline for 2 weeks before you can enter into the next phase. And so he has to be in decline of cases and deaths and appropriate testing. And then once you're there for 2 weeks that you're going in decline of that, then you can go into phase
You
one.
qualify for the next phase.
Right, and then you're in that phase for 2 weeks, and then it'll loosen up. You're in that phase for 2 weeks, and then it'll loosen up.
Right.
And
Where were
then
bars and restaurants
See, I
on
can
this?
hear better
not until
It
on
you're
was
in
Facebook.
second. It was second phase, right?
it was second phase.
Yeah, because we're not talking Vegas will not open for a while. We're still at least a month and a half to 2 months out before we're completely open. I
Oh,
mean,
for
with,
sure, until
with
they can't
gaming
get
and
the vaccine.
casinos and all
Right.
that.
Where were bars and restaurants?
See, I can hear better
It
on
was
Facebook.
second. It was second phase, right? Yeah, because we're not talking Vegas will not open for a while. Somebody's got their volume up.
At least a month and a half to 2 months out before we're completely open. I mean, with gaming and casinos and all that. Where were bars and restaurants?
See, I can hear better
It
on
was
Facebook.
second.
It was one of them too. I think it was John Herdrich. Let me see. Let me bring Rob back. How about you, Rob?
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, that was the old man.
I was like, wow, he's like watching on his phone or something.
Yeah, he's like, I'm like, what the? You gotta love live, right, Rob?
Well, I got a funny one for you this morning. I stayed last night at Sky City, and I got up this morning and I noticed last night they had garbage cans in front of every one of their fuel pumps. Well, here they're closing at midnight and open at 6 in the morning. Well, I got fuel at 6:30 this morning. I pulled in the fuel island and walked. I was going to walk inside to go give them my cards, so I can get the pump started because their card readers outside don't work, of course. And there's a sign on the door that says only 5 people allowed in the store at a time. So I had to stand outside for a half an hour for somebody to come outside, and so I could go in. They took my card, went back outside, pumped my fuel, pulled forward, and I stood in line for a half an hour again to get my receipt.
Nothing but money costs right there.
It was
That's
it was basically an
ridiculous, dude.
hour and 15 minutes to get fuel this morning.
So on top of all this, all these phases that we got to go through, truck stops are going to have to get their crap together because their situation, the things that they've put in place for this to prevent the spread. So is it going to be a while for them to go back to actually letting you do what you have to do at a truck stop?
I don't know.
You
I
know what
mean,
I'm saying?
it's like, I think once they say, oh, okay, stay at home order is all over with, it's going to be like somebody turned a light switch on and everything's going to be like, oh, okay, everybody's open up now. Go run and have fun and play.
That's nowhere near what's going to happen. It was like we were talking about last week, last Sunday. You guys were saying it's going to be a little while before this gets back to theirs until we start seeing an end to this. You know what I'm saying? And
well, it's going to be another month before Wisconsin's going to open anything up.
right, it's going to be
It's going to
anything.
screw Memorial Day up.
That's anything, Rob. They're saying anything.
Everything. Stay at home order until May 26th. Unless you want to go golfing, but you can go golfing. That's okay.
Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool.
Well, obviously the governor wants to go golfing, so that's why they're opening golf courses so he can go golfing.
I don't get it, bro. I really don't. I don't understand. That they're not looking at everything. They're looking at they're looking out for the health of the people, which is number one, and I understand that. But the trucking industry, being the unsung heroes, is going to be devastated till the recovery for this is going to be a long time. And they want to praise them and talk about them, but they're not talking about what they're going to go through.
But they're not.
Or what they're going through.
They're sitting here praising truck drivers, but they're feeding people full of shit. They're not telling them the truth. They're not telling them how truck drivers aren't even working right now and they're suffering, and that the brokers and customers and shippers are bending us over backwards trying to get us to do stuff for free.
It's a joke. It's a joke. I mean, and I can't believe that the rates are still where they're at.
Oh, it's terrible. It's ridiculous.
The fact that you got a deadhead home, dude.
I don't have to deadhead home. I can haul a load for 75 cents, but I ain't doing it. It's like, it's 35 cents a mile, 35 cents a mile just for fuel costs right now. And that's because fuel's cheap right now. And it's 50 cents a mile to pay a driver. Okay, there's 85 cents a mile. 75 doesn't even cover fuel and a driver.
No. It's you really the fact that he sat up there and he thanks him and he praises him and he says everything like he did, like he said everything we have, our economy runs on the back of the truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
And they are in hell right now. It's a joke,
It's ugly.
bro. It's a joke. What do you think would help this industry? What do you think would help the actual driver? What can we what can be done to help the driver?
I don't know. I don't have an explanation of that. I think that there should be a limit on how low they can cut these rates. Because all they're going to do is they're going to put people in the poorhouse is what they're going to do. Because the brokers still got contracts with these shippers. They're still getting $2.80 a mile on the load. They're just cutting it down to 75 cents a mile and pocketing the rest. You can't tell me that Quaker Mills, there's a load going from Quaker Mills here to Quaker Mills in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and they got it posted for 80 cents a mile. But that Quaker Mills is still paying their regular rate. They didn't lower their rate to 80 cents a mile.
Right. And that's where the issue lies. It's the fact that they're letting these hands get in the cookie jar, take what they want, and then leaving crumbs for the people that actually do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we can bring John in. Let's see what John says. Let's see if what do you say, grumpy old man? Move over a little bit. You got your one eye Willie. There you go.
I only got one good eye.
Yes.
I'm
to me,
with
John.
Rob on that. They're stealing all they can steal. I've said at home I wanted to go trucking, but I made a choice that I gave free to a couple of buddies of mine that didn't have nothing right now to keep them going so they can eat. And I didn't look at them and say, well, geez, the average rate on the board today is $1.37 a mile. That's all I can pay you boys. No, they got what they normally got when they haul with me any other time. It's not right. It's not right at all. And, Rob goes through it. Guy, look at him, just, that Band-Aid thing. Well, put it on your own truck. Well, we can't afford to. Then quit stealing so fucking much off of it. Because that's what they're doing.
I don't think it was I don't think they said that they can't afford to. I don't think that's what they said. I think they said that it doesn't pay enough to put it on our truck.
Right. And the fact that there are people supposedly in Washington that look out for the driver.
Now here's a good one for you. My wife, we're getting ready to have some. We were talking about, instead of going and loading the lumber ourselves, board by board on the trailer, strapping it down and bringing it home, we were talking about having it delivered. Menards will have it. They'll deliver it for $128, or we can choose DHL for 18 miles, and they'll charge us $628. And that's completely okay? No. The whole thing with the president in front of the White House the other day, that was a slap in the face as far as I'm concerned. That was a slap in the face to the trucking industry, because it ain't DHL, it ain't fucking FedEx, and it ain't UPS keeping everybody fed.
Tell that.
It's guys like me and Rob that are keeping this country fed. I could give a shit if Amazon delivers anything right now in this time. Really could care less.
Correct. They didn't pay taxes. They're good. They didn't pay no taxes last year, right? They're good. And it was the people that also, not just the companies that he had up there. It was some of the people that he had up there, some of the people that he recognized that I don't feel deserve to be up there.
Oh, you mean the idiot from the ATA?
ATA Chow. I don't think Chow should be. I don't.
No, Anti-Trucking Association, Chris Spears, he's a fucking
was
idiot.
up there. Tell that. Talk about it, John. Go ahead.
He's an idiot. Just, I don't know. Everybody and people can get mad at me all they want. I think OIDA is no better. You know, they made a big stink when they went electronic logs 3 months before. That's when they started to make their stink. Oh, we better make our members happy because we want their membership money next month. They're useless to me. Well, we can get you this kind of discount. We can get you that kind of discount. Work the people hard enough. I get just as good a discount.
I love them.
All right,
John. All right, John.
They can't go to Washington D.C. and lobby for anything because they're a non-profiting organization.
Yeah.
So they can't hire lobbyists.
Yeah.
You've seen some of the houses those people live in.
They're a nonprofit, but they live pretty fat, don't they, Rob?
Well, I just said, you see some of the houses they live in. Right. These people that and that's the thing. When there's money, there's motive. When there's money, there's motive. And at the end of the day, it's exactly what it is. It's what gets things pushed through Washington is money. All right? It's just like the training. The training bill was put, and I'll preach this until the cows come home, until they do something about it. The training bill was pushed for 2 years because it's not fit for those big corporations because they don't train them right. They're the ones that are involved in most of the wrecks. And the fact that they had all of them up there on that stage when 85%, I want to say 85% of this industry is small carriers like Rob, John, and Gary, people like that. It's that what makes up this. That's the glue to this industry. And they come in and they with this big checks, and then they start pushing their weight around with money. And it's guys like Rob, it's guys like John that wind up suffering in the end that try to keep their doors open and try to pay their drivers and treat their drivers right.
You look at it, Rob. I think you were on one night when we were all, you were, because you pulled up. Remember, we were looking at how many trucks Swift actually runs, how many trucks Warner runs, how many trucks England run. And we went back so many years, and they had dropped how many thousands of trucks off there that they weren't running anymore. They're not as big as you think. They're
not, because they're using us for everything that they can pawn off on us.
Correct. Every one of them bastards has got a brokerage.
Look, they all contract out freight. They all contracted out. They drop stuff on spot market. They got brokers. They've got more people under their wings than people.
We held 22 loads. We held 22 loads this week for JB Hunt.
There it is. When I hauled mail, look, for instance, these companies that go out and get, even in the mail game, they use outside carriers. The post office hires outside companies, and then those companies, when drivers like me and my ex-wife would call in sick, they had to cover that load somehow. They'd use an outside carrier outside of that company. You know what I'm saying? So there's these big mega carriers, they use the hell out of the small carrier. And the fact that, again, that they didn't have that small carrier, it's I'm telling you, I'm tired of seeing the drivers slapped in the face. I'm tired of seeing professionals that work hard in this industry and that treat drivers right get the shaft in the end.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the people in the wrong places and not actually looking out for the driver. Let me see what we got here. That's right. Let me see. Jim Lizzoni, I believe. That's right. All these companies make their money off brokering. And then, right. And then you got brokers out there that can care less about the driver and want to sit on their ass and collect 90% of that load and pay the driver 10% of it. John?
Well, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day that he works for a good-sized brokerage. And he was talking about one of the young kids in the office that it was a company out of, he offered this load to a company out of Minnesota. They'd been doing business with this company out of Minnesota for years and years and years. This young gun come in there. He thought he was cute when he offered that carrier $700 less than normal. And he was laughing about it. And my friend is pretty high up in that. He doesn't deal with carriers and stuff anymore. And he says, I had to talk to that carrier for over an hour. because this young gun thought he was cool and he was making an extra $700. And we had to go to him and tell him, these are people we want hauling for us. You don't undercut them like that. And he just looked at him stupidly like, well, it was an extra $700. He says, well, next time you need that carrier and you don't like their rate, when they come at you and say, well, now it's time for me to get even. Now you're going to pay what I want, or go fuck yourself.
Well, and that's a good point you make right there, is when we get even. Because when this is over with and everything opens back up, and
we are going to get even.
20% of the truckers out here went bankrupt and they can't get trucks again, but we're still running, we're going to gouge the shit out of them.
You're damn right we are.
We're going to get all of our money back.
And this is what continues the vicious cycle within the industry. Instead of, people doing what they're supposed to do that are in the positions that they're in, and stop being greedy and letting the driver take the brunt end of the crap. Drivers are going to continue to do this, and people will fall off, but the good ones will survive, and the good ones deserve to do that. And I hate that I have to say that, and I hate that I have to agree with you, because it's about the driver in the end, no matter what. Nothing moves without the drivers. I don't care, how you do it. It blows me away, and I think that there's things that can be done, and nobody does it because, there's too much money to be made in certain areas.
Well, see, we're not going to do it. It's not going to happen to everybody. I mean, we're not going to do that to everybody. I got my regular customer that I came down here for, that I come down here for all the time. Or, well, I don't come down here all the time, but I haul for him all the time. And he gave me my normal rates.
Yep.
It was maybe a little bit lower than what it normally would be, but he didn't screw me over like everybody else is trying to do. So when things come back around, I'm going to treat him the same way he's always treated me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing that's keeping me going right now is my direct. He doesn't play that game. He pays us the same year round. Market can fluctuate all it wants. We still get what we want.
And see, there's Gary. There's my boy Gary right there. Hell yeah, starve them brokers. You're right, Rob. It's going to get bad. It really is, because what these guys are doing, what's going on, it's not okay. I'm going to let you guys take this. Robert Andrews says, brokers keep the same margins as they always have, but truckers have to adjust hours.
No, they're not keeping the same margins. They're not keeping the same margins. Robert Andrews, do you know what the average margin is a broker takes? If you can answer me that question, I'll finish saying what I want to say.
All right, we'll see if he gets back to us. Go ahead,
keep in
Robert
mind
Andrews.
that John's a broker also.
Right. No, Rob, if people want to throw out comments like that, that's why I have men like you on, and that's why I did that just the way I did.
I mean, you and I have had this discussion, Rob.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Take
it. Go ahead, boys. Thank you. Go ahead.
I mean, a good friend of ours that from another group 2 weeks ago hauled a load for me. I easily could have thrown that load out on the load board and done what everybody else does.
Yep.
I paid that person that's our friend. I paid him over what I had in the load and lost $200 on the load. Just because I knew my freight was going to get taken care of and my customer was going to be made happy. Otherwise, I could have thrown it out on the board and I could have covered it for half of what I paid that carrier. And it would have been gone in 30 seconds off the board.
And this is why.
Well, and that's why I'm saying that the margins they're not the same, because before, and we're talking contracted freight that, the broker's got a contract with that shipper, and say that contract is for $3,000. That contract's for a year. That's not this week, next week. It's a year-long contract. And before they were keeping about 12%. Now they're only paying $800-900, maybe $1,000 on that $3,000 load, and they're keeping 2/3.
Yes.
Because they know they can get somebody to do it, because there's somebody out there starving and needs to feed their kids.
That same person
or there's an untrained driver that doesn't know how to run a company.
Right.
The people that I haul direct for, I have the same rate as my carrier side as I do on my brokerage side. And he gives stuff to other brokerages. That same broker emailed me again last week, told me what everything was. So then I called my boss and said, what's the miles on it? Because the guy wouldn't tell me the miles. He told me what the miles were. We figured out the money. And I said, well, what he was offering was $1,600. He's being more honest this week. He said, yeah, he's being a heck of a lot more honest than he was the week before. The week before, that same broker was trying to steal $941 off of a load.
You know, this world is full of crap. All right, people act like, you know, these brokers are, and I get it, and go the other way too with drivers. But
Well-
people act like brokers don't have their hands in the pot, and that they're up on the up and up, and that people don't scam people in this world. It's just it's ridiculous. It really is. It's there's bad in every industry, but you know what? The fact that they're choking people out the way they are is just not okay. It's really
just going to
not.
come back and bite him in the ass. When this
It
is
will.
over with, it's going to come back. It's going to do a full, complete circle. It's going to come back and bite him in the ass because they're going in there right now and they're trying, you know, if they don't already have a contract with a person, you know, these brokers are calling up and being like, hey, we can move that for, you know, 40% less than what you're paying right now. And we got carriers that'll do it. And then they're going to get that load. And then in 2 months, that customer's going to be like, hey, we still need you to haul this for that rate. And they're going to be like, we can't get nobody to do it. We can't get nobody to do it.
All right.
Right.
Let's go to another question. Jesse D. Ferguson. One thing too, you know, rates are bad because there are so many open decks and others sitting at the truck stops not moving. Yeah, well, that's partially it too, but that doesn't mean that carriers, like John said earlier, that rates that they have adjusted their rates. You know, there's people out there cutting rates that them rates have been the same forever, and all of a sudden they've changed.
Right. On contracted rates.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what that I think that's what we're talking about there. I don't know where how I get that down for some reason. All right, so let's hide that. All right, I think I got that hidden. You know, but you know, all right. Let's see. All right, let's go to Leland. Let's see what Leland Schmidt's saying. Remember, check out the trucking with the trucking across America with the Schmidts Mondays at 5 p.m. Central or 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. East Pacific, and 7 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern. Oh, God, I screwed that up. Sorry, Lisa. All right. I've had some take 7% for years, but next guy will take 12 or more.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
12 is about an average.
12 is your 12.
Tell it.
12 is your average. Up to 12 to 18% is average in the brokerage side of things. Everything I've read, people that I've known for years, brokers I've dealt with for years, we talk, and it's an average of 12 to 18%. And they'll tell you on that 12 to 18% scale, it depends on who they're talking to on the other end of the phone.
Mm-hmm. If they get a phone call from somebody that they've never dealt with before, they're going to start out. They're going to try and get 25% or 30%.
Yep.
But you know, if you call them and they know you're not a one and done, they're going to be honest with you. They've worked with you before, and you know what the rates are already because you've done them before. So they're going to come right at you with the 12% average. I think at one point, 12% used to be like the set. Well, this is pretty much what it's going to be.
Yep.
But then it started to change.
That same broker I was telling you about that I was having conversations with, he says, John, there was for a long time, my boss asked me, I used to do a steady load for them every week. And his boss come to him and he says, why are we only making 5% off of this? And he goes, because he's here every week and he does it every week. We don't have to worry without fail. After he explained it to his boss was completely okay with it. That they had a steady truck on it. But if I wasn't on that load, they went right back to margin, 12%.
Well, and Robert, let's go back. I'm make sure I put Robert Andrews out there. He said he threw out 15. I was close. I said 15. So we've already covered that. All right. And that goes to this right here. I want to go to this right here. I saw a load on the board the other day for 4,600. 1 minute later, another broker had the same load for 3,900. The original post was from the first broker was gone.
Yep. Because they double broker it.
Thank you, John.
And he might have broken it to another broker. At the end of the day, that load might have been $2,200.
There's so many nasty tricks out here that brokers pull. It's not a joke. It's not ghost load. There's all kinds of stuff. That's another episode.
I've got another friend of mine that actually, he's a carrier. He's a broker as well. If he couldn't find a carrier on a certain day, he'd sell it to TQL.
Mm-hmm.
Then TQL would take another 10% off it, and they had somebody to haul it.
What I get a kick out of is when we do these loads, like a Quaker load, you'll get it from one broker. Well, this happened to us, we did it for a broker, and they loaded the wrong product in the front of the trailer. There was one pallet that was wrong. It was a different label or something. And we went and delivered the load, and it was McLean. They refused that pallet. So we sat in the parking lot with that pallet on our trailer until they could figure out who the right broker was to get a hold of to find out what we were going to do with the load. It ended up being PepsiCo was the original broker. So we had to take it to standard forwarding and have them ship it back.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to send the paper to 3 different brokers to get it to PepsiCo.
Yeah, and right there, they're breaking all the rules. But then there again, there's a such thing as called a co-brokering agreement is how they get around that anymore. They each fill out an agreement so they can co-broker. So by the time it gets down to it, that load might pay really, really, really well. But this broker sold it to this broker. Now this guy over here, they got a co-brokering agreement. He might sell it to this broker. Everybody's taking their piece of the pie before it gets to Rob or I. That's all we would have needed to do that week if we could have just got it direct.
I love you guys. And this is why I have you guys on, and I have you guys on all the time, is because you are dealing with today's industry on multiple freaking levels. And that's what's important in today's industry for drivers to be successful. If you're coming into this industry and you're trying to be successful and you want to be successful, man, it's not easy. And the things that you got to go through and the things you need to know, it's extensive, correct?
Yeah.
And you guys, I can see it on Rob's face. Rob is pissed. Rob is pissed. Rob's pissed. He's pushing that smile out. He's like, "Yeah, let me open up."
It's been a frustrating week.
I know, and and unfortunately, we can only go so far with the language here, and we got to keep it on a professional level, so people actually we get something out. You know what I'm saying? We're running out of time, guys. I can't thank you enough. I'm gonna call you guys after the show. It was a great show tonight, guys. Thank you so much. I'm gonna wrap this up. John, Rob, go ahead and say John, say something to the drivers, and Rob, say hello to your wife. Unless you call.
Say something to the drivers, and Rob gets to say hello.
Because I thought
the
reason why I asked because I asked Rob how Karen was earlier. He says I don't know. I haven't talked to her.
The drivers that are out there doing this, thank you.
Thank you, John. It's important that drivers need to hear that you're appreciated. John, I will talk to you in a little bit. Tell Mama I said hi. I know Mama Herdrich keeps.
Will do. Talk to you later.
Later, John. Rob.
Yeah.
I love you, bro.
Love you too.
I appreciate you. I know you want to open up a can of whoop ass, and I know you want to let it loose, and I appreciate you for keeping it as professional as you can. Rob, please, brother, be good. I'll talk to you here in a little bit. I appreciate everything you do for us and you do for this industry.
All right. Hey, I want to say something to the other drivers too.
Go ahead.
Hang in there. Hold tight. Things will come back around. Don't give up.
Shiny side up, Rob. And that's the boys from the veteran of the industry. What a great episode. Thank you, John. I appreciate all you guys. I want to remind you guys, I'm going to go live I go live every morning at 6 a.m. right here. And also to please like and share into your groups because look, the driver's side stands alone. I don't mass share. I don't share it out myself. I depend on the drivers to haul this load with me. Thank you, drivers. I appreciate what you do. And as this lady says, as long as people still have needs, trucks will never stop, which means you are the heartbeat of America, and you should be treated like the heartbeat of America. Always keep your sunny side up, rubber side down, and to make money in the trucking industry. keep your left door closed. And I love you, wife. You treat me